thank you all for staying through the end of a day. We wanted to end on a note of hope and to share with you an announcement that we are very, very excited about at Eradicate Hate. It started about 2 years ago now. I got a call from Hans Jacob Schindler, who many of you may have met here at Eradicate Hate over the years. And he said that he and another researcher that he works with at the Extremism Project, which we call CEP, had come across a group of neo-Nazis who were planning to buy a house attached to the outer wall of Auschwitz. It was the house owned by the former commandant of Auschwitz, and for those of you who've seen the movie Zone of Interest, this is the house. And that's how it came to their attention. And so Hans and then Jacek and I got on the phone and began to talk about what would be a better purpose for that house. And I am absolutely thrilled to report today that that house of the former commandant of Auschwitz is now owned by the Counter-Extremism Project, one of the premier anti-hate organizations in the world. And Eradicate Hate is collaborating with them on the programming for that space. And thanks to just the world-class leadership of Ambassador Mark Wallace, who leads CEP, it is one of the most exciting initiatives that I know of in the world, and Eradicate Hate is so excited to be collaborating with them on this work. So Hans and Jacek, unfortunately, could not be with us here today, but we have some video from them describing what they have planned for this extraordinary place.
Hello, my name is Dr. Hans Jacob Schindler. I'm the Senior Director of the Counter-Extremism Project, CEP. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's both a pleasure and an honor. Let me also begin by thanking Laura Ellsworth and the Eradicate Hate Summit for their support. It is always a great honor for my organization, the Counter-Extremism Project, to present at this summit. A few words about my organization for those that are not yet familiar with our work. We are a transatlantic, fully privately funded think tank and advocacy organization. We work on all forms of ideologically motivated violence, meaning from violent Islamist extremism and terrorism, all the way along the ideological spectrum to violent right-wing extremism and terrorism. Our headquarters is in New York, and our European office is located here in Berlin. But we also have colleagues working for CEP in Washington, D.C., Madrid, London, Munich, and Auschwitz in Poland. CEP concentrates its efforts on individual groups and networks that are violent themselves or are connected to violence by promoting, organizing, or financing it. Responding to the current unprecedented levels of anti-Semitism, CEP launched the Auschwitz Research Center on Hate, Extremism and Radicalization, Archer, at House 88 on the 27th of January this year, the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp. Archer at House 88 is housed in the former home of the commandant of Auschwitz, Rudolf Höss, and will serve as a powerful and lasting rejection of everything Höss and his henchmen stood for. My colleagues at CEP and I deeply believe that we are at a pivotal moment in history which requires a new and innovative approach. We all have sadly witnessed how quickly anti-Semitism became once again more normalized in our societies on both sides of the Atlantic since the pogrom-like terror attack of Hamas against Israel and Israeli civilians on October 7, 2023. Unfortunately, this rise also comes at a time when we are about to lose the last remaining survivors and eyewitnesses of the Holocaust, those that can attest with ultimate authority to its horrors and to the result of unmitigated violent extremism. In addition, the new social media environment with its algorithmically organized speech allows individuals to live in their own reality. Facts no longer count as much as clicks. This not only generates and facilitates the growth of extremist, conspiratorial and anti-Semitic narratives, this social media environment also allows for a much faster, deeper and effective radicalization of individuals and promotes violent behavior. Here in Germany, from where I'm speaking to you at the moment, we have seen an unprecedented series of 9 terror attacks between May 2024 and May 2025. These demonstrated tragically how quickly such online threats translate into offline violence. Furthermore, the possibility for individuals to live permanently in a warped information environment will likely transform Holocaust denial and distortion from fringe phenomena in the social and political conversation to issues that will recur regularly. Combating anti-Semitism, extremism, terrorism will therefore require a far more deliberate and targeted approach than was deployed so far. This is what Archer at House 88, the new focal project for CEP, will do. In partnership with the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum and under the patronage of the Director General of UNESCO and the Polish Foreign Minister, Archer at House 88 will transform the former Commandant's House into a global center at the forefront of efforts to combat anti-Semitism, violent extremism and terrorism by providing critical research, education and advocacy. 8 years after the genocide of half the European Jewry, Never Forget and its corollary Never Again have clearly proven insufficient. Anti-Semitism, extremism and terrorism have surged to unprecedented levels. Wherever anti-Semitism thrives, extremism and its attendant tyranny and illiberalism is sure to follow. As both symptoms and cause, anti-Semitism is foundational to any society that accommodates, normalizes and finally encourages extremist ideologies. Our answer, Archer at House 88, therefore, aims to shatter the normalization of anti-Semitism, extremism and terrorism. My colleague and friend Jacek Purski, the director of Archer, will now take you on a short tour through the house and the new center and will explain the programming in more detail. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacek Purski and I'm representing Counter-Extremism Project. I'm also a director at Auschwitz Research Center on Hate, Extremism and Radicalization. We are now in Oświęcim, Poland, just next to the Auschwitz Museum, which you can find behind my back. Archer, the Auschwitz Research Center on Hate, Extremism and Radicalization, is an initiative held by Counter-Extremism Project to target current trends, current aims on combating extremism, radicalization, terrorism, hate, and anti-Semitism. We have purchased this house just a year ago. Now it's under construction, and we hope that in the nearest future we'll be able to hold here a global change-making center that will be open for all of you, professionals that are dealing with the topic of radicalization and extremism. Today I would like to show you this area and invite you to this particular venue, to the place in which jointly in the coming years we'll be able to make a change. This change will be based on programming that is very various and diverse. Programming that will hold a research center, that will hold an educational center. Here we would like to have also a global database on current trends in terrorism. We hope to have an annual meetings for first-line practitioners, but also for stakeholders to make the impact, to create the atmosphere of the change that will be focused for the future. What is planned here is also the global exchange program for students. In cooperation with universities from all around the world, we are planning to create a fellowship program that will allow young scientists to make research and scientific publications that will cover the topic of radicalization and extremism in our current world. This space will also be a space of an experience. We hope that here will be a possibility, will have a possibility for visitors to feel, to understand what is extremism and radicalization nowadays. It is also very, very important to understand the historical aspect of it, the importance of the historical message that is being held here. This house was a typical house next door, like you and you and you and you, all of us are having. We're having house next doors, and it's our responsibility now to take action whenever we witness radicalization and extremism, not only in our houses, but also in the neighboring houses, in the houses next door. Here in the past was living a family that the father of 5 kids and considered as a good husband was actually radicalized, became an extremist who became a mass murderer. We are standing now in the house that after 80 years came back, was purchased, came back to the society, came back to us to make the message of Holocaust survivors even stronger. Because we say that this house is nowadays open for all. We say that with this symbolic mezuzah at the front doors, which was put here by Ambassador Mark Wallace at the first day we came here after purchasing this house, this symbolic mezuzah says we're open for all. We're open for everyone who wants to contribute with us to the fight to radicalization and extremism. What is also very important is that the neighboring place of us, the neighboring place that is so important for the history of the mankind. We are just next to the wall of Auschwitz. We are just next to this horrible place. We are here to build a coalition that we are inviting you to join, a coalition of first-line practitioners, of researchers, of people who care about fighting extremism and radicalization nowadays. I would like to send my best regards to all participants of Eradicate Hate Summit and invite you to join us here in our common work against radicalization and extremism. Please visit Auschwitz Research Center on Hate, Extremism and Radicalization. Thank you very much.
So as Jacek says, the house is a very, very powerful place when you're there. Both from within the camp, so if you're in the camp and you look to the right, you see this, and you turn your head to the left and you see this. And you have to think how many people stood at that barbed wire and looked at that house, while the people in that house didn't look over the wall. Just as too many people in the world now don't look over the wall. The views from the window are unbelievably powerful. But this isn't just about the power of place, although that's part of it. This is the place where the collaboration with Eradicate Hate and Archer is going to activate people to become involved. We are contributing what's called the directory, and we invite all of you today to participate in the program over the next year, the working group over the next year, to build this directory. And here's how the directory is going to work. When you come to the Archer House, House 88, after visiting Auschwitz, and you're told, never forget, never again, memory and honor and refusal to forget is important, necessary, but not sufficient. What the directory will do is provide information that can be downloaded by attendees at the conclusion of their visit that will enable them, when they get home from Auschwitz, wherever it may be around the world, when they get home, they will have a directory of resources in their own community that is fighting against hate. So when they leave Auschwitz, they will not go home and pick up their old lives. They will go home and pick up the phone. And they will get involved, we hope, in whatever way is meaningful to them, whether it is just getting more information or volunteering or supporting these organizations. They will have the means to act on what they feel when they leave. And in this place, one of the most horrific places in the world, it will be converted to what we hope will be one of the most important places in the world to mobilize people of goodwill and good faith to action. And we, as they said, opened this house on the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And many, many people went through the house that day, and we shared our vision for this house. Tali was one of those people, and I want her to share her story with you.
Thank you. As the granddaughter of 4 Holocaust survivors, including one that spent time at Auschwitz, I was driven by the concept of tikkun olam, repairing the world, and went into the field of educating students about the Holocaust. And for the past 2 decades, I've been taking students, educators, anyone that will join me on trips to see the authentic sites, because we know that being in the authentic sites, particularly if you can have a survivor speaking there, is the most impactful experience. But on many occasions on those trips, on the bus ride home at the end of a very long day, you could hear a pin drop. And I would watch the students and I would want to have discussions, but nobody wanted to talk. It was a silence that was very heavy. And we came back to the hotel at Krakow every evening, and the students felt this emotional, they were so emotional, they'd experienced so much, but they expressed that they didn't know what to do with those emotions. How can you visit a place of such horror and then go back to live your regular life? They felt changed somehow, but they felt like there was no opportunity to turn that change into something meaningful. In January, I had the opportunity to lead a delegation to the 80th anniversary of the commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz, and the unique opportunity that I will really say was life-altering to visit House 88. This was such a moving experience and a different vantage point that I'd never seen. And we toured the home. We really didn't want to leave. It was really such an incredible opportunity. And we got on the bus to drive back to Krakow. And the mood was hopeful, lively. Everyone was engaged. We kept thinking about ways we could bring students back, and superintendents and educators. This offered an opportunity for people to feel like they could be part of a solution, part of something larger, that they can go home and take a piece with them. And I think it's really a critical element, especially as we get further and further away from the dates of the atrocities, to ensure that people feel a contemporary connection. And this is the place where change can happen. It altered my life that day. I had the chance to meet Laura and the incredible organization. And coming here has given me hope, meeting each and every one of you, that we can have a brighter future. So no trip to Auschwitz should be complete without a visit to House 88 and virtual tours, any way to engage, including the remarkable directory that we'll learn more about.
So Tali came up to me the next day. So she was at the house over the weekend. The following Monday was the official commemoration in a giant tent on the grounds of Auschwitz. I'm told the largest tent ever constructed in Europe. And all of the heads of state were from here to the screen. And the survivors were just across the way, just this tent filled with people. And Tali and her colleagues came up to me and they told me that story. And they said, we've been bringing people here for years, and what they heard yesterday can change everything. And I have to tell you that in this moment now so that you know. And I took that as, great idea, don't screw it up. And that night, after what you can only imagine was an incredibly emotional day, I went back to the house by myself. And I stood in the window of that second floor, and I looked at the sun going down over Auschwitz, and I said quietly to myself, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, we won't screw this up. And the next day, we went to Birkenau, and I took this photograph over the memorial that's there. So, here's my ask to you, and it is very personal. Help us do this right. We are planning to build over the next year a directory that will be the force that activates people who have already self-selected into a trip to Auschwitz, people who care, people who want to be informed and activated and given the tools and the resources they need to become part of this fight. Tali and I are in. Her organization is coming in on our working group. Organizations throughout Europe have already committed to be in on our working group. We are talking to organizations in Africa to be in on our working group. For every single person of good faith who goes to Auschwitz from this day forward, we will teach them and arm them to be a part of this fight. And this place that was the scene of some of the greatest evil in the world is going to be the site of some of the greatest positive momentum that this world has ever seen. That is the commitment that we made to our friends and community members who died here, that we would make their deaths matter for good in this world. And Archer and what we're going to do at that house at Auschwitz is a big part of it. We invite all of you to be part of that and to join us in this extraordinary work of the directory and of Archer. So with that, let me close on a note of hope of what we're going to do together in the year to come. In the 2 days to come, we have a lot of work to do. So take this moment, get to know one another, come up with ideas of your own, take them into the world or bring them back to us, but do your own thinking for yourself. Thank you for today, and thank you for being here.